He was not born into greatness. He had no powerful family, no inherited wealth, and no elite education. And yet, when the very soul of America was being torn apart, it was Abraham Lincoln, tall, quiet, and unshakably principled, who stepped forward. His childhood was marked by poverty, labor, and loss. He grew up working the land and splitting rails with little formal education. But he devoured books, teaching himself through borrowed words and sheer will. He grew into a man who could speak plainly and think deeply, a rare combination that would become his greatest weapon. He did not merely lead a country through war. He helped redefine what that country stood for. More Americans would die in that conflict than in any other. Lincoln faced not just battlefield losses, but political ones. It did not immediately end slavery, but it changed the purpose of the war. Black men joined the Union Army in large numbers. Abolitionists rallied behind Lincoln, and the world began to see the United States as a nation willing to fight for freedom. From that moment forward, the fight was not just about restoring the Union. It was about redefining it. He was attacked by his opponents, doubted by his own generals, and burdened by the weight of every letter sent to grieving families. In his second inaugural address, he called for healing, with malice toward none, with charity for all, and slavery, after centuries of cruelty, was officially abolished through the 13th Amendment. He envisioned a country that could emerge from war wiser, kinder, and stronger. Just days after the war ended, he was assassinated by a Southern sympathizer while attending a play. The news sent the country into mourning. A man who had given everything, including his life, was gone. Yet he never gave up. In just 2 minutes, he spoke of a new birth of freedom and of government of the people. By the people, for the people, he reminded a broken nation what it was fighting for. Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809 in a rough log cabin in Kentucky. He did not begin as a radical, but as a realist, someone who understood that to preserve the Union, he had to move carefully. Before he even took office, states began to secede. By the time he raised his hand to take the oath, the Union was already unraveling. And then came more. But he also believed that a nation could not endure half slave and half free. He proved that leadership is not about force, but about principle. That freedom is not given. It must be declared and defended. And that a man born in the most humble of circumstances can rise to become the conscience of a nation. By the mid-1800s, the United States was more divided than ever, and all the while, he prepared for something bigger than war, a moral reckoning. The issue was slavery, immoral, wound in the fabric of a nation founded on liberty. The South's economy was built upon it. The North was growing increasingly opposed to it. And in the middle stood a fragile union, stretched thin by compromise, fear, and politics. Lincoln entered politics with a clear belief: slavery was wrong. In 1860, Lincoln was elected president. The South responded with fury. The Civil War was brutal. Brothers fought brothers. Fields turned red with blood. He read military reports late into the night. He visited hospitals. He walked among soldiers. In 1862, with the war still raging, Lincoln announced the Emancipation Proclamation. It declared that all enslaved people in Confederate states were to be set free. The Emancipation Proclamation was a bold gamble. It angered many in the North. It strengthened the South's resistance. But it also gave the war a soul. Lincoln's words during this time became legendary. At Gettysburg, he delivered one of the shortest and most powerful speeches in history as the war neared its end. Lincoln looked ahead. He didn't seek revenge. He wanted reconciliation. In April 1865, the Confederacy surrendered. The war was over. The Union was preserved. Lincoln had fulfilled his mission, but he would not live to see the peace he helped create. But his legacy endured. Abraham Lincoln did not simply win a war. He reshaped the very idea of what America could be. He showed the world that even in its darkest hour, a country could find light, through justice, unity, and the unshakable belief in human dignity. This was Abraham Lincoln's gift, and it belongs to all of us still.